if we look at from an old point of view, you are known as a security person and I am known as a process person. But we are a combination of a lot of skills, right? So a skill-based organization is where we start to look at skills of individuals or our talent as compared to just the role or the jobs they have done in a period of time.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the GB Show. Today we are going to show the 50th episode of the GB Show, and we are going to mark the 1-year journey of this particular podcast. I think you have got an immense learning from the amazing experts we have brought you in this particular podcast, and continuing the journey, we have got you cybersecurity, digital transformation, network, agile, and lot of those things. If I talk about the previous episode, we were talking about the product owner, and today I have a special episode where we are going to talk about the skill sets and how organizations are moving towards the skill-based organization and how it is different from process-based organization. To talk on this particular topic, I have with me one of my amazing and old friend, Charu Agrawal. She's having around 15 years of experience, and currently she's Director Digital and Agile Capabilities with one of the leading MNC FMCG company. She's SAFe and Scrum certified, and she's also part of the Global Women Network. We are going to talk about the skill-based organization, diversity, and why Agile is important, or it's not working for you maybe. Let's hear her out. Hello Charu, welcome to the GB Show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
There I durust hai, hai na? So I think I remember those days when we used to sit next, and with just 15 years of experience, you have grown a lot, like director with one of the leading FMCG, right? You're doing a great job, and I understand that the earlier you used to be with processes, and now with that skill-based organization, right? And your Agile, Scrum, a lot of things you are doing these days. But I think I'm really happy to have you on board, and in the special episode, that is our 50th episode of the GB Show, where we are going to mark the anniversary of this, and I think you are really dressed for that. We are going to do the party after that for sure.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Thank you for coming in, and now to just start with, for my organization as per the topic which we have decided. So let's start that. What is a skill-based organization and how it is different from what we do today?
Yeah. First of all, congratulations on the 50th episode.
Thank you.
I feel great to be, coming here for the 50th one. And this is the question that you asked. I think it's very apt for the way today's work environment is moving, right? Let's step back a little bit. If we go back like 15, 20 years back, what was the job scenario? You entered a job, you entered workforce in a particular role, and then you just moved up in the same role, right? So if you became a supply chain planner, for example, you just kept moving in the same role, and maybe you ended up being a supply chain VP or something. Similarly, finance, marketing, etc. Then maybe, if you start looking at maybe 5 or 6 years back, it started to become more of a network instead of a ladder, right? That, you did a supply chain, you are a supply chain planner in a particular country, then you went on to become a supply chain planner in a different country where a little bit of rules are different, or you became a supply chain planner for a different SKU or for a different product. Then it started to become a little bit of a network instead of just a ladder upstairs. Now what we are seeing, the trend is, it is becoming, your career is now a combination of experiences, right? So then what happens is, today, for example, you are a supply chain planner. Tomorrow, you can get into marketing, or you can get into e-commerce. And what you are doing then is, you are building skills, and you are taking your skills along, right? And that's what a skill-based organization is, where an individual is not known just by the roles that they have done, or just by the area that they are in. They are known for their skills. So I'll give you my example, right? And probably you've done the same, right? All of us in a 15-year career, we've all done change management in some way. We've all done project management in some way. We've all done process improvement in some way. These are all the skills that we have built along the way.
Okay, fair enough. I think that's interesting, and I never thought in that point of view. And I know that you have been advocating skill-based organization now. So, what is your day in, day out role, and what is specifically you are doing in this field?
Yes. So, day in, day out, I am working a lot in terms of my organization's structured way of building digital capability.
Okay.
Right? So, digital is like an ocean. Everybody has their own definition of digital. We are like 5 people in the room right now. If I asked everybody, what is your take of digital capability? Everybody will probably have a different answer. So one of the major things of my role is, how do we as an organization have a simple and uniform definition of what is digital capability? And then how do we build those capabilities for everyone in the organization? Obviously somebody who's sitting at a CXO level or at a higher leadership level will have a different maturity level, right, for a digital skill as compared to who's just started their career. But the question, so that's what I do, as a part of my role. I also emphasize on how do we become more agile in our ways of working. And it's not just about agile project management or product management using agile. But in every day, your role, my role, whoever, like how do we become more flexible and how do we become more user oriented? So that's another thing I do. And of course, from a skill based, like you said, we as a company, we have recently started a pilot where we want to talk about how do we move from a conventional job based organization to a skill based organization. And there are multiple steps. Right? You have to have, for example, a skill infrastructure. What are the first you have to identify what are the top 15 or 20 skills that you need for your organization, because there are multiple thousands and thousands of skills. So yes, we have started the journey and we want to, take a small bite first, do a pilot with a particular area, like either with a business unit or with a function, to say today, let's say if I want to change a marketing analyst from a JD, from a job description to a skill description.
Okay.
How do we make that move, right?
Okay.
Because today when you advertise a role, you say this is a job description. You have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. Tomorrow we want to move to, if you are a marketing analyst, this is job description could be there, but these are the skills that we are looking for. Right? Now skills can be obviously functional based, skills can be technology also, and skills can be leadership skills also. So that's the shift that we are working on right now, starting to work on.
Okay, awesome. And I have a follow-up question here, but before that, something interesting coming in my mind, because you said you're doing a lot of things in the agile as well, right? That's a process-based when we go, and I see many organizations have tried to be agile, but why they are failing these days, and they are not actually able to go full agile.
Yes.
So maybe my audience may love to know that from you as well. Then I'll go back to the previous topic and ask.
See, I have a very controversial, it could be a little bit controversial response, right? But this is my take on, from my experience. Agile requires 2 things. One is, agile really requires you to understand your end user, right? You can have in your mind, oh, I want to make something, I want to create something like this, but like on a grand scale. But your end user might not want that. Your end user might just want a little tweak in something.
Okay.
So it requires your end user perspective, deep end user perspective. And second, it requires you to break down your deliverables into periodic delivery as compared to delivering everything in the end. Now we, people in today's corporate world who've been in the workforce for 10, 15, 20 years, they are so used to working in a particular way. Now we have a project manager, there is a project, we already know the delivery is going to happen 6 months down the line. So we become procrastinators, We say, oh, 6 months down the line, the delivery is going to happen. Why should I worry about it now? Now, suddenly you are asked to deliver something in 2 weeks, right? Because there's a sprint of 2 weeks. So you need to then, you are thinking, I'm always working as compared to working in the end. So I hear a lot, when we run these agile sprints, people say, oh, I'm always working because you're wanting me to come to these daily stand-ups. You want me to be doing something daily. You have made me accountable for a particular, user story. So in their mind, I think it's about change management. In their mind, it is so difficult for them to move to, oh, everything has to be done 6 months down the line. Let me relax as compared to doing it right now in 2 weeks' time. So I think, that's my point of view. That's why
that is where the experience talks, right? where actually you see on the ground how people are adopting or not adopting a particular thing. But I think that is something, that is where this podcast helps and actually get you not the bookish knowledge, but how it is working on the ground. But yeah, switching the gear back to the previous one where you were talking about the digital capabilities and the skills in that particular space. If I ask you to name top 5 skill sets in the digital capability world, what are those?
Again, based on all the discussions that I've been having with different organizations in FMCG as well as providers like skill providers right now, the top 5 skills, and you'll be a little bit surprised because they are all not technology related. Because every time you talk digital, people think, oh, it's everything to do with technology, right? So of course, data is your number 1 skill, right? I feel everybody, no matter what your role is, you need to either be able to understand data in some way, or you need to be able to use the data and put it together, put it out for your audience in some way, right? So storytelling through data or data visualization, right? So that is, I feel, the number 1 skill today. If you are not doing that, you are probably going to be left behind. Again, it's my point of view. Then of course AI, right? Now again, you don't have to be an expert in AI, but you have to understand what are the capabilities AI, or what are the perspectives AI is bringing to the table. So digital skills, I think AI is for sure. Then I feel the other 3 digital skills top is, one is how comfortable you are in moving from one technology to another, like digital fluency, right? That's a mindset. So for example, when I speak to somebody who is maybe, very higher up in the organization, and I ask them, how many times do you post on LinkedIn? And they are not very comfortable doing that, right? But communication and collaboration is one of the 5 C's of digital literacy today, right? So if you are, or even somebody who's, I'm not just saying higher ups, but even somebody who's probably just starting to work, you ask them how comfortable you are in using social media, and they will say, no, that's not my thing. Then you are not using a digital skill. I'm not saying you should post every day, but you should be comfortable. Similarly, today, if you are using, for example, I'm just again giving an example, for example, Zoom for your team meetings, etc. Tomorrow, your company decides to move to Microsoft Teams. How comfortable you are in making that shift?
Okay.
That is also a digital skill, right? Digital fluent. How fluent you are in using one application or one platform to another. And then the other 2 skills I would say is, one is communication, right? Today, world has become virtual. We don't meet often, but the business is happening, right? Everything is going on. How comfortable you are sitting virtually and talking to maybe 20 people in different parts of the world on a virtual meeting, and raising up your hand and talking about what your point of view on a topic is. It's very different than sitting in a room, right? Because people talk over each other, you have to raise your hand, you have to actually make them understand what your point of view is. So that communication, that confidence is also a digital skill today. And number 5, in my opinion, is creative problem solving, right? Problem solving is becoming more and more of a skill today as compared to what it was yesterday. Because we are now thinking, oh, I have this application, I have AI, I have this and that. Everything is going to, help me solve a problem. But that's not the case. They will only help you once you have understood what the problem is and the solution that you want. They will only help you in the solution. But creative problem solving is not going anywhere. So for me, again, that's, the 5 C's of digital literacy. Creative problem solving is one of them. So those are the 5 skills, again, my perspective.
Of course, you're that, and I think that's going to be different. And you previously mentioned that, looking into resume and instead of what you have done, but going into what you have learned out of it, what the skill development you have done. So as a layman, let's say I'm working on my profile on the different skills. How should I measure, or like if you are my manager, then how should you know that I am good at these skills?
Yes.
So how we can do that?
Yeah. I think that's a very good question, right? Because obviously number 1 is moving to a skill based organization, and number 2 is how do we then start to measure our talent on a skill scale, right? So what I am seeing again in my conversations, right, with different organizations is it could be a 3-step process. So for every skill there is a maturity graph we can create, like a 5-point or a 4-point, starting from beginner to an expert. And for every skill there is an explanation. If you are a beginner, this is what you have done. If you are an advanced, this is what you have done, etc. So you do a self-assessment, right? So for example, let's take data visualization as a skill, and you've done your self-assessment, you've marked yourself as an expert. Now second step could be that the organization could ask your manager to assess you. But a lot of organizations, what they are doing is, instead of asking your manager, we are also doing something called a skill blitz, right? Where your manager can come in and say, I want to assess everybody on my team in a particular skill. So everyone gets an assessment, an actual assessment, and they go through the assessment. And it is nothing negative. It is taken in a very, very positive way. It is nothing to tell you, oh, you are marked yourself as an expert, you are only a beginner. It is actually helping us to create that learning path for our talent, right? So once we do skill blitz and we do that assessment, let's say some of my team members have come out as beginners in a certain skill, and I want them to be an expert. It becomes very easy for us to create a path that, okay, you have to do these courses, you have to do these kind of projects or these kind of experiences for you to move from beginner to expert. And then we redo an assessment 1 year or 18 months down the line to see if they have actually reached there. Right? So that's what a lot of companies have started to do. I have done personally some skill blitz for some of the skills that managers came to me and said, oh, I want to assess my team on this skill, and it was done in a very positive way. It was nothing like, oh, we really want to know where you are, because like I said, it helped us create those learning maps.
Okay, that's I think quite a systematical way. I'm definitely going to use that for my team, and I'll maybe approach you to understand this, how I can do it better, right? But as I know that when we were working together, and you have always been an advocate for the diversity, and you are part of the global women network as well, how you see the trend when we're talking about the digital capabilities, men adopting this versus women, what is the scenario looks like?
See, I would say, I will step back a little bit. I think it goes more towards the way women handle a particular approach as compared to men handle a particular approach. Like if I look at, for example, data or AI, I see a lot of my male colleagues or in my organization doing a lot of courses, right, on their own. So they could approach me and they say, I want to do an AI, I want to understand what is Gen AI, or I want to understand what is Copilot, where can I do a course? Or I want to do a data visualization, a Power BI, what do I do, where do I go? And I don't see a lot of women doing that. And not because they are not aware. It is, I think, the way we as women approach things, right? We sometimes wait to be told what needs to be done. And of course, I'm not generalizing, but I'm saying majority, right? Of course, capability wise, there is no comparison. We are all at par with men, women, everybody is at par. But I'm just saying, from an approach perspective, I feel we need to be more outgoing, more proactive, which we are not today.
Okay, fair enough. And As a woman, have you ever faced any challenge where you think, okay, no, if man or male are getting preferred over here, or any sort of like 15 years, have you ever felt like that?
To be honest, of course I have faced challenges, but those challenges were not outward. Like I have never felt, and I have worked in various countries and various roles, I have never felt that somebody was given a preference over me because the person was a male or their gender was different. I think it has been more inward, that I have been, for example, shy to talk about how good I am in a certain thing as compared to my peer. And over the years I've realized it, and then I've also realized this is a trend among women. It wasn't just me. So a couple of times, like I was in consulting, and a couple of times it happened that my male counterpart probably got a project that I wanted to be a part of, only because he was able to stand up and say, I want to do it. This is what I have done in the past and I want to do it, as compared to I just thought in my heart I want to do it, but I never spoke because I thought, oh, they should already know what I'm capable of and take me.
Okay.
Right. So yes, I would say the challenges have been more inward. I have not faced, touchwood, I have not faced like that kind of discrimination so far, where I can see somebody's preferring.
So have you outcome that overall, or what is the major learning you had out of it?
Yes, I think I have consciously started doing that. I have consciously started talking about myself without, I'm still very conscious about sounding pretentious. No. I'm still very conscious about that. People shouldn't think, oh, she's full of herself and she's talking, because as a woman we all do that. But at the same time, and I also tell all my women colleagues, it's okay to talk about your achievements. It's okay to talk about that you are good at something, right? You are not being pretentious or proud or whatever. And that's what I have started to do consciously, right? Like when I meet somebody in my organization, I tell them that this is my background, this is what I want to do, and sometimes things click.
Fair enough. Amazing. I think, Charu, it has been amazing talking to you. The insights, and my audience must have loved all this conversation.
I hope so.
Yes, I think this is great. Like, learning about skill. There was many things new for me, and I think I will be implementing in my organization too.
Absolutely.
But here I have a last segment where I will like you to talk to my audience directly. That the women who are watching us right now and want to build their skill set in the digital capabilities, or what kind of advice how you have for them, how they can start, and any learning from your career you would like to share to those women.
So I would say, I might sound like a broken record, right? Because probably all women hear this from all women leaders. Is number one, I would say, please take out, even if you take out 10 minutes in a day, you have to take out time for yourself, right? Like, I think it's very important, this whole work life. Like I have family, and I feel sometimes I get so involved, so taken by my the needs of the family, that I don't have time for myself, and I consciously take that time out. And it's all interrelated, right? If you take out time for yourself, even if you are making, okay, these are the things I have to do for my career, like just do a to-do list or a meditation or go for a walk, go for a swim, whatever. I think that is very, very important. Second is, you have to tell yourself, you have to talk about yourself. Think of yourself as your best sponsor, right? Like how you sponsor how you encourage your kids in school, that okay, no, you have to go talk to your teacher, you have to go tell your teacher you've done this, or maybe you encourage your friends or someone. You encourage yourself, you be your best sponsor at work, right? You talk about what are the skills you have, what are the experiences you have, plus what is it that you want to do. A lot of times I see my women colleagues do not hesitate in talking about all of that. And then thirdly is, and we are good at it, but we sometimes keep it at a back seat, is continue to build a skill, right? Like when you're writing your goals, or when you're writing your new year resolution, just tell yourself, this is one skill that I will work on, either by learning through a course or by gaining experience working on a project in this year. Don't make it like too big or something, just a basic skill. Like maybe you can say communication is not something I'm good at and I want to be a very good communicator, right? So then you figure out what is the best way of becoming a better communicator. So that would be my I would say advice to the women colleagues out there, or all the women out there, to maybe start doing.
Awesome. Thank you, Charu, and I think everyone maybe loving all this advice, and they may follow some out of it definitely. And thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Providing these all insights, and as a last segment, and I have something for you.
Oh, that's great!
A small hamper from us. Thank you for being on.
Thank you so much.
Show. Thank you, and I'll see you next Friday. Till then, take care. See you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.